This way is duplicating, again, taking something we've already created and duplicating it. Now, if I were to, if I go up to my annotation ribbon up here, you can see here, all under the detail tab, these are all the detail line tools and detail component tools that we have available to us. And what these are is, for example, detail line. These are just 2D, dumb 2D lines that aren't represented in 3D in any way. And these are just 2D lines that we sometimes use to draft over the top of 3D geometry. There's a thing called level of detail, in which there's a particular scale that you model things to. So beyond a particular scale, you won't model beyond that point, and then you'll then come in and add in 2D detail components. You'll use the detail components tool and the detail line and the filled region tool a lot when you're doing like 1 to 5 details and things of that nature. So I've just created some lines using DL on the keyboard or under my detail line tool under the annotation ribbon. I can also use my filled region tool, and again, this will allow me to create a hatch pattern that is defined by any shape. So again, we'll need to have a closed loop here. So when I finish my sketch here, if I click on the green tick, you'll notice Revit will tell me you must have your lines must be in closed loop. Hit continue. I'm going to use my trim tool, trim up my lines, and hit OK on the green tick. Now you'll notice here we have a filled region that is of a particular hatch pattern. Now if I click on my family type properties dialog box here, click on my drop down menu, these are all the filled regions that have been created for us already. So for example, if I clicked on concrete, it'll show me something with a concrete hatch. And these are defined by 2D hatch patterns. So if I click on edit type, I could then create a new one if I want to, duplicate, give it a new name, and then under the foreground fill pattern, click on my 3 little dots here, and I can give it a 2D pattern. And these patterns it's important to know that we can create our own patterns in Revit, but we can only create either parallel patterns, which are basically horizontal or vertical lines, or a crosshatch pattern, which is basically a number of horizontal and vertical lines that are rotated at an angle. If you want to create anything more complex, like we've already got loaded into our project here, like earth, there'll probably be some brick pattern here, some pebbles and other sort of funky shapes, wood grain patterns. You either need to download a plugin that will let you generate a 2D hatch pattern for Revit, or you need to go to a Revit content web page like Revit City and download a pattern that's already been created for you. And these patterns here, they're all driven by a file called a .pat file, like a .pattern file. And what a .pattern file is, a .pat file is, if you open it up in a notepad or any kind of text editor, it'll just be a series of numbers, which are basically coordinates. And these coordinates are basically dots, and then these dots basically have lines, joining the dots, which forms the pattern. So in theory, if I were to enter a bunch of coordinates here, and I save that out as pattern.pat, that would actually be a pattern, but some random pattern because I've just entered a number of points here. So again, to create your own unique pattern that isn't just a dumb sort of horizontal or vertical lines, you need to either download a plugin or you download one from another web page. But luckily, we've already got some that have been loaded in here for us, which we can use. And now the next thing to talk about is the difference between drafting and model pattern. Drafting pattern means the pattern will only be visible in 2D views like elevations and